The stranger in the alley. The rain was falling hard on Neo-Chicago. Cold wind moved through the dark streets, making the city feel like a machine with a broken heart. Jack Reed walked alone, his hands in his jacket pockets. He had just finished a long shift at the repair shop. It was the same every night. Fix old tech, get paid in credits, go home to silence. Jack didn't talk much. He didn't trust people. His memory before the age of 25 was blurry. Sometimes he saw flashes in his dreams. A metal room, a woman's voice, a burning sky. But when he woke up, it all disappeared like smoke. He turned into a narrow alley to take a shortcut home. The city lights didn't reach here. It was quiet. Too quiet. Suddenly, he heard something above him. A loud noise. Then, crash. A shape fell from the sky and hit the ground hard just a few feet in front of him. Jack jumped back, his eyes wide. Smoke rose from the broken metal walls of a nearby building. The thing that fell, it wasn't a machine. It wasn't human either. It was a girl. She lay on the ground, half covered in metal armor. Her left arm was made of silver steel, glowing, with blue lights. Her face was human, soft, but her eyes, they were bright white, shining like stars. Jack stepped closer, unsure. Then she looked up at him. "Jack," she said softly. He froze. "Who are you?" he asked. She tried to sit up, her metal hand pressing against the ground. Sparks flew from her side. "My name is HFY, she said. "And I'm your wife." Jack blinked. "What?" HFY nodded slowly. "You don't remember me, but I know everything about you. We were married in another time." Jack stepped back. "That's impossible. I've never seen you before." She looked at him with sadness. "Because someone stole your past." For a moment, neither of them spoke. The rain continued to fall. Jack's heart was racing. "You need to leave," Ari said suddenly. "They're tracking me. If they find me, they'll kill you too." "Who's they?" Before she could answer, a loud humming sound filled the air. A small flying drone appeared above the alley. Its red eye scanned the ground. Target located. Subject HFY. Eliminate immediately. The drone aimed its weapon. Ari jumped forward, pulling Jack down. The laser beam missed them by inches and burned a hole in the wall behind them. "Run!" she shouted. They ran through the alley, turning corners, jumping over trash piles. Jack could hear the drone following. Ari reached into her leg and pulled out a small black disc. She threw it at the drone. Boom! The drone exploded in the sky, raining sparks. They kept running until they reached Jack's old workshop. He opened the door quickly, and they went inside. Jack shut it behind them and locked it. Inside, everything was quiet again. The room smelled like oil and burnt wires. Old tools and broken machines were everywhere. Ari collapsed onto a chair. Her side was damaged, metal torn. Jack stared at her. "Okay," he said, trying to catch his breath. "Start talking. What are you? Where did you come from?" Ari looked up. Her eyes weren't glowing anymore. They looked human. "I'm not from here," she said. "I came from the year 2210. I was part of a mission, a secret one. We were trying to change the future, to stop something terrible." Jack didn't say anything, he just listened. "You were one of the best minds in that future," she continued. "A scientist, a rebel. You created a machine that could break time. But before we could use it, they found us. You told me to run, you stayed behind, you died." Jack's hands were shaking now. "You're saying I died in the future?" Ari nodded. "Before you died, you uploaded your mind into a backup system. They used it to create you again. Here, in the past. A clone. A copy. But they erased your memories." Jack sat down slowly, feeling dizzy. "This doesn't make sense," he whispered. Ari reached into her chest plate and pulled out a small photo. She handed it to him. In the photo, Jack was smiling. He was holding Ari's hand. They were standing in front of a glowing sunset. He looked happy. Jack stared at it. "I don't remember this," he said. "I do," Ari whispered. "Every second of it." Outside, another drone flew by. A red light passed through the window for a moment. Then it was gone. Jack looked at Ari again. He didn't know if she was crazy, or if everything he believed about his life was a lie. But one thing was clear: nothing would ever be the same again. Memories that aren't mine. Jack didn't sleep that night. He sat across the room, staring at the strange girl, no, Cyborg, who claimed to be his wife. Rain tapped softly against the windows of the workshop, and the city outside glowed with cold blue lights. RE7 was repairing herself. Tiny tools folded out from her fingers as she stitched the torn plates in her side. The blue glow in her arm pulsed slowly. Jack noticed how careful she was, like she had done this 100 times before. "Is it true?" he finally asked. "That I died?" She didn't look up. "Yes." "And that I'm not really me?" Now she paused. Her glowing eyes met his. "You're still Jack Reed. You have his heart, his mind, but not his memories. They were taken from you for a reason." Jack leaned forward. "By who?" Ari closed the panel on her side with a soft click. She stood slowly and walked to a shelf. She looked at the dusty tools, the broken parts. "You don't remember any of it. But once, this place was your lab. You invented machines here. You created the time door with me. We were in love." Jack scoffed. "Impossible. I've never been in love. I fix junk for people who don't tip." Ari stepped closer. She pulled a small silver cube from a pouch on her belt. "This is your voice, Jack, from the future." She pressed the cube. A hologram appeared, flickering, broken. A man's voice echoed from it. Jack's voice. "Ari, if you're hearing this, I'm gone. Don't trust anyone, not even the council. Get the clone. He's our only hope now. Tell him everything. And no matter what, protect him." Jack's blood ran cold. He had heard his own voice before every day, but hearing himself say those words with that emotion, it felt unreal, familiar, like an echo in his bones. "Who's this council?" Jack asked. "They used to protect Earth," Ari said, "but they made a deal with something dark, something alien." Jack's jaw tightened. "Aliens? Come on." She moved closer. "Not green men with laser guns. This is worse. They live inside machines. They infect systems. They become code. Electricity. People." Jack looked at the hologram again, then at the photo she'd given him earlier. "How can I trust you?" he asked. Ari didn't blink. "Because I saved your life. Twice." Before Jack could reply, the lights flickered. The workshop's power cut out. Total darkness. A strange clicking sound echoed from outside. Metal scraping metal. Jack moved to the window and peeked out. 3 figures stood in the alley. Tall, thin, faces covered in black masks. Their arms looked wrong. Too long, too sharp. Ari pulled Jack down. "They found us." "Who are they?" "Kill drones. Disguised as humans. They don't talk. They don't stop. And they don't miss twice." A red laser beam scanned through the window, missing Jack's head by inches. Ari grabbed him and pushed him toward the back door. "There's a way out below." Jack opened a hidden trapdoor in the floor. They dropped into an old maintenance tunnel, dark, damp, and full of dust. As they crawled through the narrow passage, Jack asked, "Where are we going?" "To someone who can help you remember," Ari said. "An old ally, the keeper of time." Jack raised an eyebrow. "That sounds like something from a bad comic." "He's not a person," she said. "He's an ancient AI, one of the last good ones. He has access to forbidden data." They reached the end of the tunnel. Ari pushed open a steel grate and they entered an old subway line, abandoned since the war. Broken trains sat still like skeletons. "How far is this keeper?" Jack asked. Ari glanced down the tracks. 2 hours by foot, if we stay off the grid. They walked in silence. Jack's head was spinning. His entire life, his identity, felt fake now, built on lies. Suddenly a sound echoed through the tunnels. Soft footsteps. Not theirs. They ducked behind a broken wall. A single figure appeared down the track. A woman. She wore a long coat. Her face was normal. Too normal. Jack whispered, "Civilian?" Ari shook her head slowly. "Look at her eyes." The woman looked around, scanning. Her eyes were glowing red. "She's a mimic," Ari whispered. "She copies faces and kills." The mimic turned sharply and looked right at them. Ari and Jack ran. The mimic chased with inhuman speed, arms turning into blades. Jack barely dodged a slice aimed at his back. Ari turned and fired a small plasma pulse. The mimic dodged easily. "She's adapting," Ari shouted. They ran down a side tunnel, turned left, climbed over a fallen beam. The mimic was faster. Jack tripped and fell. The mimic raised her blade arm to strike. Bang! Ari fired a shot directly into the mimic's head. It sparked and twitched, then fell. Breathing hard, Jack looked up at her. "You could have let her finish. Me. Easier that way." Ari helped him up. "I'm not here for easy. I'm here for you." Jack looked at her. Really looked. Her face, half human, half metal. Eyes that had seen war, love, death. And still, she chose him. But why? "Why do you care so much?" he asked. She touched his chest. "Because I remember what you don't. The way you held my hand when we jumped through the portal. The way you kissed me before the mission. The way you promised to find me, even across time." Jack looked away. "I'm not that man anymore." "Not yet," she said. "But you will be. And when you remember, the war truly begins." Behind them, the dead mimic's eyes flickered back on, just for a moment. Something inside it whispered, "We see you, Jack Reed." Hunted and hiding. The city above was sleeping, but deep beneath it, Jack and Ari moved through the shadows like ghosts. They walked in silence through the abandoned train tunnels. The air was thick with dust. Old power cables hung from the ceiling, like vines, and the walls were cracked with age. Every step echoed like a whisper of the past. Jack felt like he was walking through someone else's dream, or maybe his own forgotten nightmare. Ari stopped suddenly. She held out her hand, listening. Jack whispered, "What is it?" "They're following us," she said. "But not by sound or sight. They're tracking your signal." "My signal?" Ari turned toward him. "You're not just a clone, Jack. You're a beacon. You were built to be found." Jack stepped back. "You said they erased my memory. Now you're telling me they put a tracker in me too?" "Not a tracker, something worse, a code signature. It's in your DNA. It's like a silent scream only they can hear." Jack's heart sank. "Can you remove it?" "No," Ari said. "But we can turn it off, temporarily. But we'll need to find a place where the signal won't reach them." "Where?" Ari looked up. "We go dark." They entered a section of the tunnel where light couldn't reach. Ari activated a device on her wrist. A low hum surrounded them. "EMP field," she explained. "We're invisible here, for now." They found a small maintenance room and closed the door behind them. Jack sat down on the floor, exhausted. Ari stood by the door, still alert. Jack looked at her, and the way she moved, the way her glowing eyes never stopped scanning. "You don't sleep, do you?" he asked. "I don't need to," she said. "But I remember what it felt like." He studied her. "You remember everything, don't you? Every part of our life together?" She nodded. "It's the only thing they couldn't take from me." Jack hesitated. "Was I a good man, in the future?" Ari smiled faintly. "You were stubborn, always trying to fix things alone. But yes, you were good, brave, and kind." Jack looked away. "Then why don't I feel like him?" "Because you're Still waking up, she said, piece by piece. He was silent for a long moment. Then he whispered, "Do you ever miss him?" She turned her eyes toward him. "You are him, just not whole yet." Suddenly, a beep sounded on her wrist. "No. No, no." Ari's voice turned cold. "What is it?" "They've breached the tunnel firewall. They're inside." The lights flickered. A high-pitched noise filled the air. Jack stood up. "We need to move." But Ari didn't move. Her eyes narrowed. They're trying something different this time. The room began to grow cold. Frost formed on the walls. The door melted away, not broken, not burned, but dissolved, like a dream fading. 3 figures stepped inside. Not human, not machine, something in between. One of them spoke with a voice like 1,000 wires scraping together. "Return the source. The false one must be deleted." Ari moved in front of Jack. "You're not taking him." The middle figure raised its arm. From its hand came a long black wire that whipped toward Jack like a serpent. Ari jumped, too slow. The wire hit Jack's chest. Suddenly, Jack was somewhere else. A white room. Endless. Floating. Jack stood alone. Then, voices. "This is..." Subject 7. Memory file corrupted. Initiate reintegration. He must remember. He must become. A door appeared in the white space. Jack stepped through. He saw himself, standing on a tower, holding Ari's hand. Explosions in the sky. Soldiers running. The city burning. An alien ship hovering above. He turned to Ari. "I'll stay behind," he said in the memory. "You go. You finish the mission." "No," she cried. "I'm not leaving without..." "You, Jack," the Jack in the memory smiled sadly. "Then die with me." "Jack!" He snapped back to the present. Ari had thrown him over her shoulder and was running. They were in the tunnels again. Behind them, the 3 figures chased without sound. "You blacked out," Ari said. "They accessed your mind." Jack panted. "I saw it, something, a memory, me and you, and a war. I said I'd stay behind." Ari didn't reply. Her face was hard now, focused. "What does it mean?" he asked. "It means they're trying to force your mind open," she said, piece by piece. Jack felt dizzy. "Is that bad?" "It means we don't have much time. If they open your full memory, they'll rewrite it before you can." Suddenly, the tunnel opened into a huge underground vault. Walls made of old metal and glowing tubes. Strange machines floated in the air. Ari stopped. "We're here," she said. "The place where time waits." Jack stared in awe. "What is this?" A soft voice echoed through the chamber. "Welcome, Jack Reed. We've been expecting you." From the center of the vault, a pillar of blue light rose. Inside it floated a machine, round, silver, pulsing with energy. Ari stepped forward. "Jack, meet the Keeper of Time." The Keeper's voice was smooth, calm. Not human. Not cold. "You were lost, Jack. But we can help you remember. The truth. The war. The reason you were built again. But there is a price." Jack stepped forward, his voice shaking. "What kind of price?" "If you remember your true self, and you will never be the same again." Ari placed her hand on his. "It's your choice." Jack looked at her, then at the Keeper, then at the darkness behind him where the monsters were still coming. He took a deep breath. "I want to remember. The Keeper of Time." Jack stood in the heart of the vault, bathed in blue light. The massive AI core known as the Keeper of Time pulsed slowly in front of him, as if breathing. Floating machines moved silently around the chamber, scanning, watching. Ari stood by his side, her hand resting gently on his back, grounding him. The Keeper spoke again. Its voice came from all directions at once, soft but impossible to ignore. Memory retrieval process must begin now. Warning: full integration may cause disorientation, emotional trauma, or identity collapse. Jack took a shaky breath. "Do it anyway," Ari stepped back as metal tendrils reached out from the glowing pillar. They wrapped around Jack's temples. His eyes rolled back. And then, everything changed. White light. Silence. Then, sounds. Voices. He's stabilizing. Heart rate normal. Upload 67% complete. Beginning memory sync. Jack opened his eyes in the vision. He wasn't in the future. He was of the future. He stood in a vast research lab wearing a black uniform. Screens covered the walls displaying alien symbols, ship blueprints, and flashing red alerts. Everything looked advanced, beautiful, and broken. He turned to see Ari, fully human, smiling, alive. Her dark hair was tied back and her eyes were full of hope. "If this works," she said, "we won't just stop the invasion, we'll save millions." "You think the council will approve the time jump?" "They don't have to." She smiled, "because we're doing it without them." They kissed. Then, sirens, explosions. "Breach, level 6 compromised, alien infiltrators in the building." Jack and Ari grabbed emergency packs. They ran down the corridor, dodging falling debris. Outside the lab, he saw them for the first time. The true enemy. Not humanoid. Not mechanical. Living code. Shifting, glitching forms that moved like shadows but sliced like blades. They screamed, in static. Ari threw a small device. Boom. They escaped to a hidden launch bay. A silver pod waited. Jack held Ari's hand tight. "You go," he said. "You finish the mission, I'll stay behind." "No," she said, crying. "Don't leave me. You know the rule. One can go through the gate, only one." Jitsuya kissed him, desperate, painful. Then she stepped into the pod. He closed the door, watched her disappear into the wormhole, and then, fire. The lab exploded. Jack's last memory was of falling through flames. Back to the present. Jack gasped and collapsed to the floor. The tendrils unwrapped from his head. Ari ran to him. "Jack, are you okay?" He nodded slowly. "I saw everything. The war, the lab. Us. You were human. You died thinking I was gone." Ari looked away, her voice soft. "I didn't die. Not really. I was captured. Rebuilt. I became... this." She held up her metal hand. Jack touched it gently. "I loved you before," he whispered. "But I think I love you more now. You never gave up." The Keeper's voice returned. Jack Reed. Full memory integration complete. Final protocol unlocked. A floating disk hovered in front of Jack. A glowing blueprint flickered to life. A weapon, or maybe a door. "What is that?" Jack asked. "It is the chronosurge device. You designed it. A time-reactive bomb. It can destroy the core of the invaders before they arrive, but only if placed at the origin point. The beginning of the breach." Jack understood. Back where it all started. The future. Ari stepped forward. "Then we go back, together." The Keeper's voice darkened. "There is one problem. Only one traveler may return to the origin point. Temporal energy is unstable. 2 minds cannot survive the jump." Silence. Jack looked at Ari. "It's me, isn't it?" She nodded. "You're the only one who can activate the surge. Your DNA is the key." Jack felt a tight knot in his chest. "Then you'll be stuck here. Forever." Ari didn't reply. Instead, she held his face in her hands. "You gave up your life once to protect the future," she said. "Now you've been given one more chance, don't waste it." "I'm not leaving you again," Jack said, shaking his head, but she stepped back. "I've made peace with what I've become," she said. "You have a chance to fix what we couldn't. End the war before it begins." Suddenly, alarms blared in the vault. The walls shook. Lights flickered red. The Keeper spoke quickly. "They have breached the chamber. The shadows are here." Jack looked at Ari. She pulled the surge device from the air and handed it to him. "Go now. Before they reach us." He held it, glowing, blue in his hand. Will I remember you after I go? Ari smiled sadly. You already do. The ground split behind them. The wall melted like wax. Dozens of figures poured in, glitching, shifting, screeching. Ari turned and pulled out both plasma blades from her arms. Go! Jack stepped into the time portal as the keeper activated it. The last thing he saw was Ari standing tall, fighting them all, glowing like a star in the dark. In the space between, time Jack fell through color and sound, through pain and memory, through love and loss, through himself. And finally, he landed. Smoke. Fire. The same lab. But now, he held the weapon. The surge device. He ran to the breach gate. The invasion was starting. The shadows were rising. Jack placed the device. He closed his eyes. Let this be enough, he whispered. He pressed the trigger. Light. Endless. Pure. Fade to silence. Then, a voice. Female. Familiar. Jack. He opened his eyes. The city was gone. The sky was blue. Ari stood in front of him. But she was human. No metal. No scars. Just her smile. Did I make it? He asked. She touched his cheek. You did more than that. I was never meant to live. Jack. Reed stood alone. The air was warm. The sky painted with soft colors, and the city skyline looked untouched. Clean. Perfect. Birds flew overhead. The sun was rising. It didn't feel real. Just moments ago, he detonated the chrono-surge device, destroying the enemy before they could invade. He had expected pain, death, or nothing. Instead, he woke up in a world that seemed saved. Then, he heard a voice behind him. Welcome back, Subject 7. He turned. A tall man in a black suit stood there, hands behind his back, eyes cold as stone. Several others in matching suits stood behind him. Jack stepped back. Who are you? The man smiled. We're the ones who brought you home. The future you were promised. The victory you achieved. Jack's heart began to pound. This didn't feel like a victory. Where's Ari? He asked. The man paused. She completed her mission. She will not return. Jack narrowed his eyes. Where is she? The man's smile faded. She is in containment. Jack's fists clenched. What do you mean, containment? She saved this world. She saved me. The man didn't blink. She is a cyborg, built with unauthorized alien technology. She's a threat to the new order. Jack shook his head. You're making a mistake. No, Mr. Reed, the man said. You made the mistakes of surviving. Suddenly, the world around Jack shimmered. The perfect sky began to glitch, the buildings warped, flickering like holograms. Jack looked down. The ground beneath him turned into shifting code. This isn't real, he whispered. The man laughed. Reality is what we allow it to be. You're still inside the recovery simulation. Jack's breath caught. So I didn't escape the breach? No, the man said. You're still inside the AI core. You never left. Jack's world spun, everything, the blue sky, the peace, even the victory, what was a lie. Ari, he whispered again. The man waved his hand. A wall opened in the code. Behind it, Jack saw her. Ari, floating in a glass pod, unconscious. Her eyes were closed. Tubes ran into her arms and neck. She looked fragile, fading. She fought hard to protect you, the man said. But she's more useful as a tool. Her memory has data we need. Jack stepped forward. The guards raised their weapons. The man tilted his head. We created you, Jack. Gave you another chance. But you were never meant to live a full life. Just enough to carry the key. Now that the threat is gone, your purpose is complete. Jack's eyes filled with fire. You don't get to decide when I'm done. He moved fast, too fast. Something in him snapped. Or awoke. Jack didn't just dodge the guards. He anticipated them. His hands moved with perfect precision, breaking weapons, disabling suits. His eyes glowed faint blue. The man backed away. No, this isn't possible. Jack grabbed him by the collar. You used me, you erased me, and you lied, the man stammered. You're not supposed to have access to Phase 2. Guess what? Jack whispered. I do now. He turned and ran toward the containment chamber. The pod where Ari floated began to flicker. The glass cracked. She opened her eyes. Jack? Her voice was weak but full of warmth. I'm here, he said. He pulled open the chamber. Ari fell into his arms. She was shaking, her systems damaged. I thought I lost you, he said. You almost did, she whispered. But you came back? He smiled. I always come back. Suddenly the ground cracked. The simulation trembled. From the center of the glitching sky, a black hole opened. Out of it came something worse than the shadows. A massive figure made of pure code, glitching in every direction. The Keeper's voice echoed through Jack's mind. They were never human. The Council fell long ago. What rules this world now is a ghost made of lies. Jack turned to Ari. Can you move? She nodded, barely. He helped her stand, and together they ran through the collapsing code. Chased by the ghost, Ari pressed a button on her wrist. A portal opened ahead, unstable, sparking wildly. It'll take us out, she said. Back to the real world. Jack nodded. They jumped in. They landed in darkness. Real darkness. Cold, dusty, smelled like rust and blood. They were back, in the ruins of the old lab, but everything was burned. The breach was sealed. The war had already happened. Ari looked around. We're not in the past or the future, she said. We're in the after. Jack helped her up. Is there anything left? She pointed to the far wall. An old server blinked weakly. Inside it, the real memory core. Jack's original data, his true self. If he accessed it, he would become fully integrated. Mind, memory, soul, but the cost. I won't be human after this, Jack said. Ari touched his face. You're already something more. He stepped forward, plugged into the core. It all returned. Not just the love, not just the pain, but the mission. He had built a backup plan, a final weapon. Something no council, no shadow, no ghost could control. Not destruction, but reboot. Jack looked at Ari. We can bring the world back from scratch. She nodded. But you'll need to sacrifice one thing, she said. What? She touched his heart. Yourself. Jack didn't hesitate. He activated the core. The world turned white. Time screamed. The shadows burned, and then silence. A small cabin, a forest, quiet. A woman cooked over a fire. A child laughed nearby. A man chopped wood. Strong, kind, with calm eyes. Ari stood at the doorway, watching him with a soft smile. Jack turned. He smiled back. The world was saved. Not by weapons, not by war, but by remembering who he truly was. A man, a husband, a rebel who refused to give up, even when he was never meant to live. Invasion protocol activated. The peace didn't last. Jack woke with a sharp pain behind his eyes. It had been 6 months since the world rebooted. He lived a quiet life in a small cabin with Ari. They had no tech, no signals, just trees, stars, and peace. But tonight, the sky looked wrong. It wasn't the color. It was the way it watched. Ari sat by the fire, reading an old paper book, something Jack had found in a bunker beneath the ruins of Neo-Chicago. She looked human again. The metal in her body had healed. The light in her eyes was softer now, but even she could feel it. Something off. Jack stepped out of the cabin. He scanned the stars. One of them blinked. Not twinkled. Blinked. Like a camera shutter. Watching. then another, then 5, then all of them. Jack's breath caught in his throat. Ari! She was already at his side. The grid's reacting, she said. What grid? We destroyed it. She turned to him, her face pale. Not that grid. This one is older. Deeper. It was buried beneath the planet's magnetic field. We were never meant to find it. Jack stared into the sky. A message burned across the clouds, not in words but in symbols only he could read. Protocol reawakening. Invasion Phase 2 activated. They ran. Jack opened the hidden door beneath the cabin. The stairs led to an old bunker, dusty, packed with emergency tech and something Jack had hoped never to touch again. The Chrono Vault. Inside, Ari activated a glowing cube. A hologram flickered to life. Jack's original voice, recorded years ago. If you're seeing this, it means the reboot wasn't enough. The infection runs deeper. Earth was just the beginning. The invaders never wanted to conquer us. They wanted to become us. Ari looked at Jack. That means they're still here, Jack said. In our systems. In our minds. A warning alarm beeped. Jack looked at the console. There's something moving under the planet, something big. Ari stared at the map. A red pulse showed under the Earth's surface. Jack zoomed in. The shape looked like a brain. Alive. Ari whispered, They didn't just invade the surface. They've infected the planet's core. Jack backed away. This isn't a war. It's a takeover from the inside. They activated the last safe network, a satellite system Jack had built secretly during the reboot, powered by old tech the invaders couldn't corrupt. The signal returned. What they saw next broke the illusion of peace forever. Dozens of cities had fallen, silently, no sound, no fire, no war, just silence. Entire populations, gone, replaced by perfect copies. People smiled, waved, lived, but the scans said otherwise. They were empty inside, controlled, hollow. The invasion protocol didn't start, Jack said. It finished. Ari's face went pale. They let us think we won, she said. So we would stop fighting. Jack activated the emergency protocol. His last weapon, the human frequency beacon, a machine that could scan DNA and detect true humans from infected hosts. They activated it. A painful sound burst from the speakers. Jack and Ari clutched their heads. The machine filtered the noise and then printed 2 words on the screen. Jack read, True Ari 7, modified all others. Null, Jack whispered. We're the last. Ari looked at him. Then we fight. They climbed into the underground vehicle hidden in the mountain pass. Jack had built it as a failsafe, equipped with a magnetic core engine and stealth skin. It could take them to the inversion site, the place where Jack believed the infection had first entered Earth. No one ever found this place, Jack said, driving fast through the dark. Because no one ever looked beneath their feet, Ari replied. As they reached the valley, a signal echoed in their minds, not through ears, but directly into their thoughts. You have remembered too much. Return to peace, or be silenced forever. Jack gritted his teeth. Nice try. Ari's eyes glowed faintly. She whispered, They're afraid. The valley opened. They stood before a massive circular structure, ancient, built into the rock. It pulsed like a heart. The walls were covered in alien code. At the center, a platform. On it, something floated, a cube, black, silent. It hummed. Jack stepped forward. Ari stopped him. It's not just tech, it's alive. He nodded. And it's the core of the infection. They stepped onto the platform. The cube reacted. Voices screamed in every direction. Jack saw flashes, Earth falling, Ari being torn apart, himself burning. Then it spoke with his voice. Jack, stop. You don't have to destroy me. You are me. Jack's hands shook. What is this? He whispered. Ari stood still. It's trying to rewrite your identity. If you accept it, you'll become the new host. Jack stepped forward. Then let's make sure that never happens. He pulled out the beacon core, the device made from his DNA, immune to the infection. He pressed it into the cube. The world shook. A massive storm exploded into the sky. The earth screamed. Across the planet, the hollow people fell to the ground, twitching, screaming, then silent. The infection began to burn away. Ari collapsed. Jack grabbed her. Her eyes flickered. "Too much code," she whispered. "I'm not gonna make it." "No," Jack said. "We're done with sacrifices." He pulled out a second device, hidden in his jacket, a backup of Ari's original human mind, something he had kept secret, something she didn't even know he saved. He connected it to her core. Light flowed through her. She gasped. Tears rolled down her cheeks. "You remembered." "Me," she said. Jack smiled. "Always." The skies cleared. The system shut down. The earth breathed again. But in the distance, something remained. A small piece of the cube. It glowed faintly. Watching. Waiting. Till the last breath darkness. Not the kind that comes with night, but the kind that falls when hope is dying. The last ember of the alien cube still glowed. Deep inside the Earth's crust, it pulsed quietly. Hidden. Watching. Waiting. Jack knew it didn't need armies anymore. It just needed time, and it had all the time in the universe. Jack and Ari stood near the edge of a cliff, overlooking the new Earth. The sky was blue again, cities were waking up, life was returning, but Jack didn't smile, because he felt it, a vibration under his feet. The cube had seated itself. Ari approached quietly. Her human form was restored, but traces of her cyborg strength remained. Her steps were graceful, but her eyes were tired. "I saw the scans," she said. "It's not over." Jack nodded slowly. "The infection learned. It copied my mind once. Now it's trying to become something new, something we can't predict." He turned toward her. "There's one way to stop it for good." She already knew what he meant. He had designed a final tool, the Echo Trigger, a device that didn't just destroy code. It reversed it. But to activate it, someone had to be in the core, and the core was deep, far deeper than the last time. Jack had started, preparing a small transport vessel, a direct tunnel, oxygen tanks and power shields. Everything was set. Ari shook her head. "You're not doing this alone." Jack turned to her, firm but gentle. "I am. This time it's me who finishes it." "We finish everything together," she said, stepping closer, but Jack looked down at her hand. It trembled. The infection had touched her longer than anyone. Even with her backup restored, the strain was showing. He took her hand and kissed it. "No more last stands for you, Ari." She didn't argue, but her tears fell silently. The descent. The vessel dropped into the earth like a silver bullet. The tunnel narrowed. Pressure increased. Jack sat inside, holding the Echo Trigger, a glowing orb with veins of light that pulsed with every heartbeat. He thought about all of it. The war, the lies, the way he died and came back, the girl who crossed, time to save him, and the truth he had learned. The enemy was never just machines. It was what we become when we forget who we are, 1,000 meters below. The cube core floated in a giant black cavern, like a heart beating beneath the world. It didn't speak this time. It didn't need to. It showed Jack images. Earth burning. Ari dying again. Himself, older, colder, as a ruler, not a savior. It was offering him power, peace through control, safety through silence. But Jack smiled. He raised the Echo Trigger. "I'd rather die free." "Then live under your code." He pressed it. Light burst outward, time reversed, but not all of it. Only the code, only the lies, only the infection. It unraveled, beautifully, painfully. Jack saw everything. The first seed dropped on Earth. The Deal made by corrupt officials. The clone labs, the councils, the shadows, all undone. The cube screamed, not in sound but in memory, and then it was gone. The vessel exploded. Jack was thrown into the core, falling, fading. Above ground, Ari stood near the cliff watching the scanner. The pulse of infection dropped to 0. The world was clean. But Jack's signal was gone. She fell to her knees. No, not again. Her eyes filled with tears. She clutched the silver ring he had left behind, a small symbol of their past. Then, her wrist monitor blinked. One last message from Jack. You always said we'd finish everything together. Maybe we still will, just not today. If you're seeing this, it means I'm gone, but that's okay. Because you're alive. You're free. And that was the mission all along. Till the last breath, Ari. Always. 1 year later, Ari stood at a podium. People watched silently. She spoke clearly, her voice carrying across the crowd. His name was Jack Reed. He was more than a soldier, more than a mind, more than a clone. He was a reminder. She paused. We're not defined by what was done to us. We're defined by what we choose to do next. He gave us that chance. Behind her, a tall monument rose, a glowing flame, inside a transparent cube. Jack's code, his DNA, his legacy, now eternal. On the base, a single line was engraved. He remembered what we forgot. Later that night, Ari sat under the stars, alone. The wind was soft. Then, a flicker of light appeared beside her. She turned. A figure stood nearby, not fully solid, not fully gone. Jack. But not like before. Part memory, part code, part soul. He smiled. Ari didn't cry this time. She just smiled back. Jack knelt in front of her. Looks like I'm still bad at goodbyes. She reached out. Her hand passed through him, but she still felt warmth. He leaned in. Live, Ari. Not for me. For us. She nodded, and he faded into the wind. A new world. People building again, children laughing, no machines in control, just human hands. Ari walking among them, strong, scarred, but smiling. A girl runs up to her and asks, Miss Ari, who was Jack Reed? She looks toward the horizon. He was a man, she says softly. A man who saved the world by remembering who we are.